We get ready to blow the fiber. One of the first things we need to do is connect our duct down in the hand holes. When we're connecting our duct, one of the first things that I like to do is chamfer the duct here on the end so that we get a nice smooth edge for our missile to go through. And we get rid of that sharp edge there. With this conduct clamp we've got here, we've got a seal kit here. First thing we do here is get this seal wrapped around our duct system. Once we get that in there, get our ducts in place, get our seal in place, we clamp this together, we can keep our air from leaking out of this seal. Sometimes it takes more effort than others to get that sealed properly, and a little leak don't hurt anything. We're just trying to stop the bulk of the air from coming out here so that we can use all our air pressure to get down line. There's a good sealed fitting, and this clamp does a very good job of holding this together. Now that we have that connected, first thing we want to do is proof our duct. We've got our air hooked up here. We got to get our air compressor tied onto this side. Now we want to chamfer this end of this duct. It always helps to get our missile started. So the first thing we do here is we'll use this blowing lubricant. The most important thing about blowing fiber optic cable is using the correct lubricant. There's a blowing lubricant and there's a pulling lubricant. The pulling lubricant is a water-based lubricant, which when you use an air compressor on it, actually gets sticky, not slippery. The blowing lubricant, and it says blowing right on the bottle, is a silicone-based lubricant, which when you add air compressor or air pressure to it, it still stays slippery and doesn't dry out and get sticky. Very important to be sure you use the blowing lubricant. What we try to do here is use 1 quart for 2,500 feet. That gives you two quarts per 5,000. If you're going to shoot a mile, you'll have 2 quarts of lubricant in there. We'll put some in now, and we'll proof this in here. We'll put 3/4 of a quart in. We get that in. First thing we do is we proof it. We take a sponge, get our lubricant in there. We stick this sponge in here, and we blow this sponge through with the lubricant in front of it, and that helps us spread our lubricant out through the process. Okay, now to pick the correct duct adapter, we'll take our duct adapter. We've got our sponge in. We'll screw our duct adapter into our inner duct. You will notice this valve on here. I'll explain in a little bit what we use that for. Once we get that down into place with our sponge and our lubricant in there, now we're going to proof the duct. What we've got to do is get this down inside here. We'll take what we call the hockey puck and we'll place inside the air block. This will prevent the air from coming back through when we use the air to blow the sponge. Once we close this back up, you'll notice this has only got 1 rubber seal here, and it doesn't do a good job of keeping all that air in there, but a few leaks don't hurt anything as long as we get the majority of it down line. Once we get this tightened up, once it's tight, that's good enough. The air will leak out of here and you'll want to come back in and tighten this up even more. It's going to leak a little bit, and that's okay. It's not going to cost us too much of our air. Now that we've got our hockey puck in place, the air coming in here, our sponge and our lubricant in place, now it's just a matter of coming over to this valve and turning this up to where we get 50 pounds of air pressure with this valve. I like using 50 pounds of air pressure proofing the duct. If I can get my sponge out the other end of a 5,000 foot shot in a minute to a minute and a half, I know I've got a good duct system in place.